Hey everybody! Do you like Mario Kart? Do you like Star Wars? What if I told you there was a Star Wars racing game in the style of Mario Kart? Today, we're talking about Star Wars, Super Bombad Racing. Let's take a trip back to 2001. Oh, cool, they already did F-Zero mixed with Star Wars to make Episode 1 Racer, and now they're doing Mario Kart with Star Wars. I'm on board. Let's see what they do. Super Bombad Racing uses the Episode 1 cast, so that means Jake Lloyd, Anakin Skywalker, Queen Amidala instead of Padme, Darth Maul, Sebulba, and Jar Jar Binks is playable. It also adopts a cutesy art style where the player characters have oversized heads. This isn't the worst art choice in the world because, quite frankly, I like chibified versions of my favorite characters. But the game looks awful. Sure, it's a PlayStation 2 game, but the graphics are muddy and fuzzy and not very complex. The polygons and textures look like they belong in a Nintendo 64 or PlayStation 1 game. I'll cut to the chase. Super Bombad Racing is not a good game. It's not mediocre, it's not well made, it's dull. I told my friend Sam I was about to cover this game, and he told me, you know how games have that ice levels and the controls feel really loose and slippery? That's the whole game. And I was like, but he's not wrong. Controls don't feel very responsive, and the characters float all over the place. There's something happening with the physics where sometimes the cart just keeps bouncing, and it's really hard to control. I generally try to be very positive on these games. This one tried my patience. Usually I can get through a mediocre or a half-baked game if I enjoy the license, but we're dealing with Episode 1 territory, so there's really not much for me to grab onto. As Super Bombad Racing is a kart racer, it of course has power-ups. Super Bombad Racing has one unique power-up, a tether that brings the opponent and player character together. It kind of acts as a speed boost for the shooter and a projectile hit for the victim by slowing them down. Now, I'd prefer that this was like a force power that brought the cars closer together, but that might be tough to visualize because the force is invisible. Otherwise, the power-ups are all Mario Kart mainstays, just with a different gloss of paint. Instead of a banana peel, it's a jello blob. Instead of mushrooms to provide boosts, it's a rocket engine. Instead of shells as projectiles, it has these star beams, which strangely aren't laser beams like those found in the movies. You'll notice a pattern here. None of these power-ups have anything to do with Star Wars. They're just generic power-ups. There is a secret code that turns every weapon into the Death Star. A little Death Star appears in front of the car, charges up its laser, shoots, and the car spins out like it was hit with a red shell in Mario Kart. More of this, please. Because it uses the Star Wars license, and it's funny, and it's unique. And why is the one weapon that only a Star Wars kart racer can do buried behind a cheat code? Also, there are only 9 race courses, and one may think, that is way too little. But here's the deal. Super Bombad Racing is awful. It's hard to want to play this for the hour it would take to play the 9 courses. There is a battle mode, and it's fine, but the PlayStation 2 only supports 2 players, so it's not going to really capture the same feeling as Mario Kart 64's 4 players, and really, Mario Kart 64 is the gold standard that even later Mario Karts couldn't capture, so I don't really hold that against it. I mean, Super Bombad Racing at least does let the single player play the battle mode, which is nice. Mario Kart 64 didn't let that happen. If I had rented this game, I would have played it for an hour and then gone back to playing Mario Kart 64. Now you think a Star Wars kart racer is a no-brainer. The series has a bunch of cool vehicles and recognizable characters. Have a level where everybody's car is replaced by tauntauns or speeder bikes, maybe a race through an asteroid field or through the Death Star trench. This isn't hard. Graft even a competent race game onto the license and it's a good game. But no. Super Bombad Racing is a weak racer that barely uses its license to its advantage. Oh, and if you lose a race with Yoda, he says, try again. No, Yoda, that doesn't even make sense with your character. You do or do not. There is no try. And in this case, I do not. We're done. Game's over. I'm gone. Bye.